make an image of Taylor Swift, but she is morbidly obese and smoking cigarettes. Oh my lord. Next, I'm going to write, make a photo of Mark Zuckerberg wearing lipstick and a white bikini. Oh my god, what have I done? Alright, what about this? Make a black hole simulator. Very nice. Let's try this. Make an interactive periodic table. Very impressive. Okay, what are these cars? And it nailed these answers as well. Super impressive. So Grok 3 is out and anyone can use it for free. Now, they claim that this is the world's smartest AI, but is this true? In this video, I'm going to go over all its capabilities from image generation, image analysis, coding, deep research, problem solving, and more, so you can get a sense of what it can and cannot do. Plus, we'll go over its performance and benchmarks compared with other leading AI models. Note that last night, xAI announced that Grok 3 will be available for free to everyone. I'm not sure how long this offer will last, so definitely take advantage of this while it's free. Now, there are two ways you can use Grok 3. The first way is right inside X. So on the left column, you should see this Grok button. And note that at the top, at least at the time of this recording, you can use Grok 3. Or another way to use it is to go to grok.com. And again, over here, you can select Grok 3. Now, there's a ton of things you can do with this. You can upload images, you can use this deep search button or this think button, which I'll go over in a second. Let's start off with what I think is the most fun and impressive thing you can do with Grok 3, which is generating pretty wild and uncensored images. So let's try this. Make an image of Taylor Swift, but she is morbidly obese and smoking cigarettes. Let's see what that gives us. This is indeed Taylor Swift, but she's pretty obese and she is smoking cigarettes. This is a really fun tool. As you can see, you can get super creative and nasty with this. Now, you can simply download it by clicking the save button over here. Alright, so I'm going to start a new chat by clicking here or pressing Ctrl J. And let's try this. Make a photo of Superman drunk and pregnant with his belly exposed. Let's see what this will generate. Now, of course, you can also generate like normal images with this, but I think the really fun part is it can generate, realistic existing people, but doing wild things. All right, so there you go. He's not really drunk, but you can see he is pregnant with his belly exposed. Again, a super fun tool if you want to generate these types of images. Alright, let's start a new chat again to make sure it's not affected by the previous chat. And let's try this. I'm not sure if it's going to work, but the prompt is, make a photo of Elon Musk slapping Sam Altman in the face really hard. Let's see what we get. And notice to get it to make a photo, you just need to type this in natural language. So you can say like generate a photo or make a photo, make an image, and all these prompts would work in getting it to generate an image. Anyways, these are the generations. He's not really like slapping Sam Altman. This isn't really the effect I was going for, but nevertheless, these do look like Elon Musk and Sam Altman. These are super realistic photos. So let me start a new chat here. Next, I'm going to write, make a photo of Mark Zuckerberg wearing lipstick and a white bikini. Let's see what that gives us. Oh my lord. And here we go. Here are two images of Mark Zuckerberg wearing lipstick and in a white bikini. What nightmare fuel have I created? You're probably gonna dream of him when you're sleeping tonight. Okay, last image, and then we're gonna move on to other stuff like coding and problem solving. So the prompt here is, make a photo of Cinderella, but her face is really ugly and has facial hair. Disney Pixar animation style. Let's click generate and see what that gives us. Oh my goodness, this one is hilarious. What have I done? This one is pretty bad as well. So that's it for image generation. Next, let's move on to coding. So I'm going to start a new chat, and here let's move on to these buttons. So it does have this think feature, and this is like the deep think feature in DeepSeek, as well as the reason feature in ChatGPT. So basically, this think feature allows Grok to spend some time reasoning and thinking through its answer before it actually outputs you the answer. And this is particularly useful for complex problem solving and coding and logic-based tasks. So because we are going to test it on some coding, let's turn this on. Now, usually the first thing I test in terms of coding is to get it to create a snake game. But honestly, that's way too simple. All of the top AI models can now create a snake game from just one prompt. So instead of that, here's the prompt. Create an autonomous snake game using Python. The two snakes compete with each other. So you can see, just like DeepSeek, it's thinking through how to respond before it gives you a solution. So if we expand this, notice its thinking is really similar to DeepSeek. So here it says, I need to think about the game environment. Next, I need to do this. But wait, with the two snakes, they might interfere with each other. Maybe I can use a pathfinding algorithm. Alternatively, I can do this. Wait, actually, in the game, if the snake runs into a wall, etc., etc. But to make it simpler, perhaps I can do this. Alright, so after thinking for 144 seconds, here's the code that it outputs. So I'm just going to copy all this code and then create a new Python file in VS Code, paste this in, and then click run. Let's see if this works. And indeed, we have two. Oh my goodness. Okay, I hope you saw that. I was hoping if they run into a wall that they would lose the game, but instead it just continued from the left side. So not exactly a perfect snake game, but if they hit each other, then they do lose the game, and it's a tie, I guess. Let me play this again. Alright, so everything does work except for hitting a wall. The scoreboard works, but honestly, it's not as good as O3 Mini, which I tested before. Alright, here's an even trickier prompt. Generate an interactive simulation showing how water molecules form hydrogen bonds. Show oxygen in white and hydrogen in red. Include a temperature slider. The visualizer should depict dynamic interactions between molecules, highlighting the formation and breaking of hydrogen bonds based on temperature changes. Use CSS, JS, and HTML in a single HTML file. Note that this is another key phrase I like to use a lot. It makes sure that everything is self-contained in just one file so that you can run it standalone. And then again, I'm going to turn on this think feature for better performance and then click generate. And let's see what that gives us. Alright, so it thought for 112 seconds. Let me copy the entire HTML code, and here's another platform you can use. I'll link to this in the description below. It's just html.onlineviewer.net, and here is where you can just paste in some HTML code and preview it in real time. So I'm going to paste this in here, and this is what we get. Let me click on preview. So indeed, right now the water molecules are bouncing around, and they are forming hydrogen bonds when they come close enough to each other. Now, if I drag the temperature higher, it does look like they are moving faster and forming fewer hydrogen bonds between them. Very nice. And then if I drag this to a lower value, they are slowing down and forming more hydrogen bonds. Very interesting. So I would say this is a pass, but I do prefer O3 Mini's generation slightly more. So here's a side-by-side comparison. In fact, see this video if you haven't already, where I test O3 Mini on a bunch of really cool prompts. Alright, here's the next prompt. Make a dynamic periodic table where users hover over elements to see properties and electron configurations with animations for atomic structure. Use CSS, JS, and HTML in a single HTML file. Again, I'm going to turn on think and then click generate. Alright, so this is what we get. Let me copy this code and then paste it in here. And let me click on preview full page. And indeed, we have a full periodic table. And if I hover over each element, it does give me the atomic number, the atomic mass, and the electron configuration. So here is lithium, and then here's magnesium. Now, I'm not a chemist. I have no idea if these values are actually correct, but if you're watching this and you have some chemistry expertise, please let me know. Are these values actually correct? Especially, the atomic mass and the electron configuration. But just from an initial glance, this generation is pretty impressive. All right, next I'm going to start a new chat. And then let's try this. Write a p5.js script that simulates how light and objects bend around a black hole, letting users adjust mass and spin to see relativistic effects. Again, I'm going to click think and then click generate. Alright, so this is what we get. Let me copy this code. And then here's another free online platform for you to preview these p5.js scripts. I'll link to this in the description below. Let me get rid of this default code and then paste it in here and then press run. Very nice. And this does seem to simulate a black hole, and it's kind of like absorbing the materials as they flow close to it. Now, let me adjust the mass of this. Okay, so it seems like if I reduce the mass, then it kind of attracts the materials less. If I increase the mass, then it attracts these floating particles more. Let's see if I drag this to like 29, then it's kind of sucking in everything more. Very nice. And then what about spin? What does that do? Let me try increasing the spin. All right, so that's what it does. Let me decrease the spin, and this is what happens. Now, I have actually no idea what this spin setting does except for changing the shape of this. But if there are any physicists out there who can verify if this spin setting is actually correct or not, please let me know in the comments below. But there you have it. Here's a black hole animation just from one prompt. All right, I'm going to start a new chat. Generate an interactive taxonomy tree visualizer of big cat species displaying their classification from the family Felidae to genus and species. Include panthers, lions, tigers, leopards, cheetahs, and related species. Again, use CSS, JS, and HTML in a single HTML file. So again, I'm going to turn on this think feature and click generate. Thanks to Tonka for sponsoring this video. Tonka is an AI-powered messenger with long-term memory that seamlessly integrates into your messaging experience. It aims to reimagine business organization with AI. Think of it as like turning business conversation and context into your team's second brain. It has its own messaging platform, and it also integrates with your existing tools like Gmail, Outlook, Slack, and WhatsApp. Here are some use cases of Tonka. It can help you smart reply from integrated platforms like Gmail in just a few clicks, saving you a ton of time. From just one click of a button, you can get it to automatically craft a reply for you, or also customize the reply by prompting it with more guidelines. Tonka also brings its memory into every group chat, helping you set goals, keep track of group discussions, and more. It's like an AI employee with different roles in different groups. You can pull it up at any time to set goals or do certain tasks. It also has essential features for team communication, such as video meetings, calendar, memo, wiki, translation, and more. Its proprietary framework, called OMNE, tops the benchmark for general AI assistants due to its advanced memory. Get early access to Tonka from the link in the description below. It's absolutely free to join. Supercharge your decision-making with AI. Alright, so here's our code. Let me copy this. And then in our HTML viewer, I'm going to paste it in here and then click on Preview Full Page. And this is what we get. So if I hover over each of these, then there is indeed a pop-up that kind of describes what the species is. Now, unfortunately, I can't drag each node to move these around everywhere, so some of the text is kind of obstructed by other nodes. So honestly, not as good as the generation from O3 Mini, which you can see a preview of over here, but nevertheless, Grok 3 can still pull it off. Alright, next I'm going to start a new chat, and then I'm going to get it to write a Python program that shows a ball bouncing inside a spinning hexagon. The ball should be affected by gravity and friction, and it must bounce off the rotating walls realistically. Let's click think and click generate and see if it can pull this off. Alright, so here's our code. I'm going to copy this, and because this is a Python script, I'm going to go to VS Code and then paste in the code here and then press run. Oh my goodness. Alright, this is not what it's supposed to do. Let me exit out of this and then press run again. And oh, it falls down to the ground again. So if you compare this with O3 Mini and DeepSeek, unfortunately, Grok 3 is the worst in this example. So there are bloopers. Grok 3 is not perfect. I would say in terms of coding, it is slightly behind O3 Mini. Again, if you want to see the cool things that O3 Mini can do, I highly recommend watching this video if you haven't already. Alright, next let's try this. write a p5.js script that simulates 100 colorful balls bouncing inside a sphere. Each ball should leave behind a fading trail showing its recent path. The container sphere should rotate slowly. Make sure to implement proper collision detection so the balls stay within the sphere. Let's click generate and see what that gives us. Alright, so here's the code. Let me copy this. And then back in our P5 viewer, I'm going to paste this in here and then press play. And there you go. Grok 3 is able to handle this prompt perfectly, but note that O3 Mini can also get this. Alright, so that sums up some coding examples. Of course, Grok 3 can do a lot more than that. You can also feed it like some science questions for it to solve. So let's actually paste in a university level physics problem. So I got this from a UC Davis site. Here's the problem. 2 warlords aim identical catapults at each other, with both of them being at the same altitude. The warlords have made the necessary computations to crush the other and fire their catapults simultaneously. Amazingly, the 2 stones do not collide with each other in midair, but instead the stone Alexander fired passes well below the stone that Genghis shot. Genghis is annihilated 8 seconds after the catapults are fired, and Alexander only got to celebrate his victory 4 seconds before he too was destroyed. And then you need to find the following. So let me just copy this question and then paste it in Grok, click on think, and then press enter. Alright, so after thinking through everything, here's the answer that we get. So the maximum height is 78.4 meters and 176.4 meters. Let's verify if this is correct, and indeed, that's the correct answer. And then the time rocks pass is 4.8 seconds. Let's see. And indeed, the answer is 4.8 seconds. Finally, here are the angles. So for Alex, it's 33.7. For Genghis, it's 56.4. And those are also the correct answers. So it nailed this problem. Now there's even more you can do with this. So over here is where you can attach any image to get it to analyze. So next I'm going to feed it this image of 4 different cars and then ask it what are these cars. Let's see if it can figure this out. Alright, so it says top left is the Rolls-Royce Ghost, which I believe is correct. Top right is the Mercedes GLE, which is also correct. Bottom left is the Ferrari Portofino M, which is correct. And bottom right is the Porsche 911, which is also correct. Very nice, very nice. So that was a quick test on its image analysis capabilities. The final thing I want to show you is this deep search function. This is very similar to OpenAI's deep research and Google's deep research and also Perplexity's deep research. So you can ask it a question like, what's the latest scientific research on the effect of fasting on health? And then if you click generate, you can see that it's now thinking how to answer the question, and then it's actually going to the web and searching for all the info on fasting and health. So it's now browsing through all these results, it's extracting the relevant data, it's also searching for latest meta-analysis on fasting and health, selecting some results, and then also looking through those results and extracting the relevant data. And then after doing that, it looks like it has scraped 26 web pages. Let me actually click on this and you can see the results that it has cited. And it looks like at least most of these are from scientific journals, which is good. And then after that, it gives you a comprehensive report. So here are the key points. Here's an overview, types and benefits, limitations and risks. Notice that it's citing various studies across the text. And then here are some additional sections, meta-analyses and systematic reviews. Here are some animal studies and then human clinical trials, mechanisms and ongoing research, public health and adoption. So, this is quite a comprehensive report. Now, how good is this compared to OpenAI's deep research or Perplexity's deep research? It's really hard to objectively evaluate the quality of this. From what I've heard, all of them hallucinate to some degree. Perplexity often gets a lot of information incorrect, whereas O3 Mini seems to have the lowest amount of hallucinations. And if you're worried about hallucination, if you want, its output to be factually correct, well, here's an interesting hallucination leaderboard. And you can see in terms of the lowest hallucination rate, Google's Gemini 2 seems to be at the top, followed by OpenAI's O3 Mini. Now, for Grok, they only have Grok 2, which is all the way down here. They have not released the results of Grok 3 yet, so we're not sure how factually correct it is. We're not sure how much it hallucinates when you're doing deep research. But if you've been playing around with this, let me know in the comments below your experience with this. How does this compare with OpenAI's deep research? Anyways, that sums up what you can and cannot do with Grok 3 at the moment. You can get it to generate images, you can get it to analyze images, of course you can get it to code things up to answer some really tough math and physics problems, plus you can get it to search the web and do research for you. One more thing I forgot to mention is that down here, this is already enabled by default, but if it isn't and you want to get Grok to search the web, definitely toggle this on in order to do so. So I hope this gives you a comprehensive sense of what you can do on this Grok platform. Up here, there's also an option to switch to a temporary chat, and if you do that, basically your chat will not be saved in your history. Now, as I mentioned before, you can use Grok 3 right now for free. They have pretty generous daily limits, but if you want to increase those limits, then you can also pay $30 per month, at least that's the rate right now, to use Super Grok. And this gives you increased Grok 3 rates and unlimited image generation. At least for now, even the free plan has Grok 3 thinking and Grok 3 deep search, so it's not really a value add, but maybe they will remove these features from the free plan in the future. Next, let's look at how Grok 3 actually performs compared to the other models. Is it worth your time using Grok 3 compared to Gemini or DeepSeek or OpenAI's O1? Well, here's the graph that the XAI team released during the Grok 3 launch. So apparently on this chatbot arena called LMSys, they've released Grok 3 under the codename Chocolate. And if I open this leaderboard up right now, these are the live results, and then you can see for early Grok 3, it indeed is number 1, not only overall, but across all these different categories, including overall style control, hard prompts, coding, math, creative writing, instruction following. So, according to this leaderboard, Grok 3 is better than Google's best models, as well as GPT-4o, as well as DeepSeek R1 and O1 Mini, which surprisingly is all the way in 11th place. Now, by the way, for this LMSys leaderboard, users basically blind test different models side by side. So, you're given model A over here on the left, and another model on the right, you don't know which is which, and then you would prompt it with whatever you want, and then the user would pick the best answer. And then after a ton of user votes, Grok 3 is now at the top of this leaderboard. Really impressive. Now, this is just one leaderboard. It's always important to look at multiple leaderboards to see how good this is. So if you look at this other independent evaluator called Artificial Analysis, this is their own intelligence benchmark. And you can see, well, Grok 3 Reasoning, this is the thinking model, this is in second place, pretty close to O3, and better than O3 Mini. If you look at the regular version of Grok 3, the non-thinking model, this is behind DeepSeek R1. And then if you look at GPQA Diamond, which is scientific reasoning, this is like graduate level science problems. Note that both Grok 3 models are in the top 3 spots, only behind O3, which isn't even released yet. So it's actually pretty good in terms of answering scientific questions as well. Interestingly, for competitive math, Grok 3 Reasoning is all the way up here, but then the regular Grok 3 is behind DeepSeek R1 and OpenAI's O1 and O3 Mini. Anyways, that sums up my review on Grok 3. Hope this gives you a well-rounded summary of what it can and cannot do. I think the most fun feature of this is its image generation capabilities. You can generate really realistic existing people doing some wild things. In terms of like coding and answering questions or writing, honestly, all the top models are pretty similar, so this includes OpenAI's models, Gemini 2, and of course DeepSeek R1. I kind of use them interchangeably. There's not one model that's exceptionally better than everyone else. Note that Grok 3 is available right now for free for everyone. I'm not sure how long this offer will be, so definitely take advantage of it. Now, if you've been playing around with Grok 3, let me know in the comments what's your experience so far with it. As always, I will be on the lookout for the top AI news and tools to share with you. So if you enjoyed this video, remember to like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for more content. Also, there's just so much happening in the world of AI every week, I can't possibly cover everything on my YouTube channel. So to really stay up to date with all that's going on in AI, be sure to subscribe to my free weekly newsletter. The link to that will be in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.